Okay, I'm going to demonstrate installing the Network Security Toolkit 30. NST30 is a security-based Linux distro built on top of Fedora 30, as the name kind of implies. Um, actually tried to do two installs at the same time, Fedora Security 30 and NST 30, and something I see seems to be kind of wrong with the Fedora version. I may have to go grab the ISO again. It didn't even want to start the installation process. It hung up on me. Um, I literally couldn't shut the VM down. So I had to shut VMware down, completely delete the VM's directory, and then let VMware delete the reference to it in my library. So I'm only going to do NST30 right now. NST30, as the name suggests, is, well, the Network Security Toolkit. It's this is a live boot image. So unless you choose something like, say, console or server or rescue mode, and you have to make that choice very quickly, it'll go right into the live boot, and from the live boot you can install it using the Anaconda installer, which we'll see in just a minute. It has a different look and feel from the Debian installers that you're used to, and we'll see that in just a second. It's built using the mate desktop. Fedora Security 30 is built using XCFE. One of the things that is, shall we say, distinctive about Network Security Toolkit is it has a lot of security tools in its menu, but it's more or less designed to be controlled from an internal web interface. And actually, I think I might, as soon as I get this thing up and running, I might also, if it is a network security thing, so Nmap should be installed, but I might try to do Nmap localhost and then Nmap my IP address and see if maybe there's a web server that is visible, if that is exposed to port 80 belonging to localhost, but not to the outside world. So let's see, we're going to wait. I'm going to pause this. We'll wait just a minute. Okay, so this is mate. This is the Network Security Toolkit. As we can see, it's the mate desktop. Let's see, so let's see if Nmap localhost works. Yeah, the internet printing port is open, which means I would find a CUPS page somewhere here. Let's do top. I'm doing this so I can kind of watch Anaconda. I want to make sure it works. I can see a lot of daemons here already. I believe, let's see, so let's look at our applications. We've got some internet tools. Now, with NST, a lot of our tools are actually kind of built into the internet library. I think one of the things that folks who really like Kali and Parrot like about it is that the menu here is a good deal more well organized. You've got everything from let's see, Wi-Fi tools to FTP tools to password cracking tools to web application scanning. Actually, let's look at, just for a minute, let's look at the NST web interface. Let's show you, let's look at what this is before we go as far as installing to the hard drive. Interesting. You might actually have to turn it on a bit. But yeah, it should be here. So let's try installing this. Maybe I need to install something correctly. Close tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and double click install NST to hard drive. This will fire up the Anaconda installer, which is right there. Notice it is running as root, not as the user NST. I'm going to pause this for just a second. Okay, so here we go. This looks a little bit like the beginning of our Ubuntu install. One of the first things you have to do is choose your installation target. In this case, I just want this. I'm not going to do anything special here, really. I'm going to leave it automatic. Don't want to encrypt my data. Okay, check it. Click done. Let me see. I'll go back, and this sometimes you have to be a little patient and persistent with Fedora, with Anaconda, with this particular task to make sure that it really understands, yes, I do have a valid target. Okay, so it took a few minutes, but it has finally noticed that we are ready to go. So I'm going to click the Begin Installation button, and we'll go. So I need to do my user creation first. And then I'm going to set my root password as well. Notice I could lock the root account if I really wanted to. I'm not going to. Now, if I want to later, I believe I can do so as root with or with sudo privilege with the password command. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it alone. I just want to make sure that if I need to give myself sudo privilege, I have the ability to do so. And of course, if you start on a computer, if you're on a new system and you need to give yourself sudo privilege, there's a really good chance that you may have to do fun things like install the sudo command first, which is absolutely something you want to do as root. Even if installing sudo and installing vi sudo are about the last things you do as root directly, you still want to do those things as root. So I'm going to click done, and it's going to wait a while. Okay, so it's, I'm going to pause this again because I've got about 6.5 minutes left on this video, and I've got a lot more than 6.5 minutes worth of waiting to do with this install process. And as you can see, Phoenix has joined me. There is actually a distribution called Puppy Linux. I haven't checked in on it at all recently. Of course, the perfect place to go for the latest information about any even halfway popular distro is distrowatch.org. Notice that this thing has been installing software in the background while I've been doing my user creation and my root password and all of that. This may just be installing the base system. There may also be a password selection option here. A package selection option here down the line. Notice that it also has not asked me for a mirror set the way the Debian installers typically do. That's Debian, of course, not Kali or Ubuntu. With those, there's only one place to go. These are also looking online for repositories, but they're going straight to probably the Fedora repositories. So I'm going to pause this again because it's still thinking and it's got a long way to go. Okay, so it is about done. It just installed the bootloader. It did some post-installation tasks, and I believe it just rebooted on me. I actually had to go and grab the newest Fedora Security Labs ISO. Security Lab ISO. I think that's what they call it, Fedora Security Lab, specifically. I'm going to pause this. Okay, and okay, it's, okay, yes. So it must have been doing something with the hard drive because it just blanked out for a minute. So a lot of the things that you kind of confirm manually in the Debian installer, say writing writing our partitions to the hard drive, confirming that you do in fact want to install grub, etc., etc. A lot of these things are kind of just done for you in the Anaconda installer. If you're trying to learn Linux, say for example for a certification or just to get really, really good at it, I suggest trying as many different flavors as you want, particularly if you've got VMware at Home, or VirtualBox, or Parallels, or even Hyper-V, if you're on a Windows-based system. Grab a whole bunch of ISOs, install them, play with them, use them. If you, along the way you develop a preference for one over another, great. You'll probably figure out at some point that you have a style, a way you want to do things, that you do like one desktop environment over another, one family of distros over another, and now we can reboot. So I'm going to click quit, and okay, I'm going to go to System, and I'm going to shut down and restart. And I'm going to pause this. Okay, so this is my login. Let me see, come on. Click. Okay, I'm going to choose, yeah, I'm going to leave it as mate. This is in the way. Bam. Click back. Andrew Phillips, yeah, so. As you can see, kind of a different dynamic from picking your, if you're using, say, for example, if you're using GNOME, and you would pick your desktop someplace else entirely. Let's see if we, so let me get, so let's do nmap. Okay, no numlock, that would help. Okay, nothing. Okay, and again, the IP port. The next thing I want to do is update this thing. Sudo dnf update. Okay, so apparently I have to give myself sudo privilege first. We know how to do that already, so I'll do that and come right back. Actually, I'm going to take a slightly different approach to giving myself my main account sudo privilege. I don't want to give AMP root privilege by adding myself this kind of command. What I want to do, and notice that this sudoers file is just a little bit different from what we're used to in Debian. What I want to do is add myself to the wheel group. So change of plan. I looked at it. Notice that the wheel group down here can invoke sudo privilege without a password, which is a little bit strange, which I don't want. I want to put I'm going to put myself in the wheel group, but I'm also going to make myself a root user. The funny thing is, I did SU. I switched to root without providing the root password. That's a little worrisome all by itself. What I'm actually going to do, so what I did, okay, interesting. Let me fire up history again. Because, okay, so